YouTube, what is going on, everybody? It is PoloKid888 here with another video ranking every single gun in Warzone in their prime, when they were the best of the best at their peak, before they ever got nerfed. Some of the good old days of Warzone here. It's gonna be a lot of harsh grading because it's all guns in their prime, so you could see very, very good metas that were very broken back in the day be down in the C, D, and F tier, just because I'm comparing them to every single meta that ever existed. So S tier is gonna be like, if you're an S tier, you were arguably the best gun to ever touch Warzone. So yeah. Starting with the R9 C tier, not the best shotgun meta, but was very broken, very annoying. The doof meta, as a lot of people called it. But it was dumb, and in a building it was annoying. But the thing with all these shotguns, the reason none of them are going to be S tier, I'll let you know right now, is you could beat them outside a building. If you weren't in a building, you beat a shotgun. But they were very dumb. 75 D tier, only reason it's not F is because I had slug rounds, and those were kind of good for a little bit. But yeah, not good. VLK as well, going in D tier. The fire rounds are okay, but it's not the R9. The R9 is just better in every way, if I'm being honest with you. It shoots 2 rounds at a time, larger clip, also has fire rounds, faster ADS, like, I could keep going. Origin A tier, best shotgun meta to ever touch the game. It was very dumb, very broken. You just hold the trigger down with a 28 round mag and kill 4 people in 5 seconds. It was dumb. I mean, everyone used it, and everyone hated using it because they knew that it was unfair. Like, personally, myself, every time I kill someone with it, I'm like, oh, I feel bad, because I'm just murdering them with a gun they can't beat. Jack 12, current state, I'd say is its prime, and I'm putting it B tier. Not a lot of people use it, but in close range, it is very, 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 very viable. And very broken, too, with the fire rounds. AN94, this thing has never been good, never will be good. It's in its prime now, and it still sucks. AMAX, A tier. So, back in, I think it was like season, I'm not sure, I'm not going to say the wrong season here, but when it was an AR meta season, and, the Kilo and AMAX were on top of that. It's not S tier because you could not really make a clear cut of which one of those two is better, because I personally think it's Kilo. And in current meta, the AUG's better than the AMAX, so it's always been very good and very viable, but it's never been the best, so I'm just going to put it A tier. Grau, S tier, let me explain. In the Grau's prime, it was the only AR that could keep up, or it was the only AR, let's be honest here, that was good. If you ran any other AR, you lost to the Grau, every time, without fail. If you were running a Grau, you beat an AMAX, you beat a Kilo, you beat a RAM, you beat everything. Only way you lost was to a sniper, right? Pretty much. But this thing was a laser beam with 0 recoil and lots of range, and it ran an entire season of that in the MP5. Ram 7 C tier, and let me just put the M13 at B tier because the M13 is always just that much better than the Ram 7, even in their primes. M13's prime was probably right at the start of the game. Ram 7 probably when it first came out as well. But the Rams always just been a little bit more of a pea shooter, you know what I mean? But in their prime, they were both pretty decent guns. Kilo, A tier. Again, arguing with the AMAX for that meta of that entire season. But since there was no clear-cut meta of that season, I couldn't really put it over the AMAX. And even though the Origin was a meta of the season, again, it's a shotgun, can be beat at ranges. ARs can dominate any range. Like, all 3 of these ARs right here could dominate close range as well, which is the reason they're A and S tier. Odin, I'll give it D tier. At a point, it was actually pretty good. Then it got a slight nerf, and then no one used it again because it's the Odin, and it has a lot of recoil. M4A1, I'm going to say its prime was probably at the start of the game. People still use it now. I'm going to go B tier. It's old reliable. I cannot speak today, but oh well. Old reliable, always good, but compared to other metas, it was just not up there with the A and the S tiers of the world, but it was a very, very good meta. FR556, the burst itself, F tier, was never good. However, this gun is S tier. Everyone might be confused, but there was a solid month of the game where if you put the shotgun underbarrel attachment on this FR, 50 meters and closer is a one-shot. And that was not fun. It didn't matter. And you just had 8 bullets in your underbarrel that whenever you decided you wanted to do that, you could just one-shot someone. And I hated it. It was a terrible time in Warzone. Burst itself, F tier. Burst Underbarrel, S tier. And the only, I want to put it in F tier because it's an underbarrel attachment. It's not really part of the gun. But this was the only gun that had it. And it's S tier because of that. And actually, you know what? No, it's going A tier. Because how bad the burst itself is not good enough to keep it in S tier for how good that shotgun underbarrel attachment was. That's how bad this burst is. But it's still going A tier because the underbarrel was dumb. Yeah. I mean, do I have to explain? I mean, the AK just is bad. Same with the SCAR. Like, neither of these two guns have gotten nerfed ever in Warzone, and they both still suck. AK has a lot of recoil, and the SCAR has 25 bullets in the magazine. Like, I don't know what else you want me to tell you, my guy. FAL in its prime was probably B tier, similar to them 4. Wasn't AMAX and Kilo level. You could beat them if you hit your shots, but it's a semi-auto, and it's hard for semi-autos to run it, which is the only reason it's here. FARA and LC10 are both going F tier. I feel like the LC10 could move up eventually, but it's newer. It's not the meta. I haven't gotten to use it too much. So they're both going F tier. However, the FARA will stay in F tier because this thing is absolute garbage. ISO, D tier, it's just a little bit better than all these. That's all I really have to say. It still sucked. M91 C tier, there's a point where this gun was actually really, really good. It's a very short amount of time, though, because then other LMGs kind of took over and it was overlooked. But it was decent for a little bit. The Fennec, B tier. There was a time where close range in buildings was dominated by this gun. However, even though it's an SMG, it has less range than the Origin. So, it was very good in close range, but yeah, it stays in B tier for me. Striker 45 was never good. P90, I'll give it C tier. I'd say it's in its prime right now, actually. It's an underrated weapon. It's very good. But compared to other metas of the game, it's just not, it's not up there. Like, I can't put it up here with, like, the FAL. Like, I can't put it with any of these guns. Modern Warfare AUG is terrible, as well as the Modern Warfare Bison. MP7 is B tier. Where's the MP5? Right here, A tier. I'll explain. MP7 has always been the MP5's little brother. It's just a little bit worse. It's like, they're both good. They're both very good. But the MP5 has always been a tad better than the MP7. I explained more of it in my last video. Go watch that video if you haven't yet. But yeah, so, and especially meta-wise, MP5 ran the meta for a solid, like, 3 seasons as the backup, you know, until the Origin really came in, and then it didn't do that anymore. Uzi never had a prime, really, and it was always a mech gun, so D. Combat Knife, I can't really rate this, nor is it good. Cali sticks are way better, so Combat Knife is just bad. Riot Shield, it stays where it was in the other video because it's an impenetrable piece of plastic. Come on now, let's be honest with ourselves. PKM, A tier. Actually no, B tier. I'm gonna change that. Best LMG meta, no. That's the reason I moved it. However, in its time, it was 0 recoil, and you could put 200 rounds on it if you felt like it. So definitely B tier. A lot of people did run it for a bit, and it's still viable. Cali sticks, obviously in my other video, they were S tier. In this video, they're... I can't really rate their prime. They're always in their prime, though, and they're still S tier. I'll put it A tier. If you want, I had a long explanation for this, so if you want to look at my Cali stick explanation, go watch my last video. It's like the first, it's actually the first thing I put up on the board, so you don't have to watch too much of it if you don't want to. But, yeah, I took a long explanation for it, so I'll let you guys go look at that. RPG, S tier, this was ran by every single solitary player in the game for the first 2 months of the game. Everyone used an RPG as a backup to what was the M4 most of the time. And you ran an RPG in your back pocket, and you would just shoot that into buildings. You would hit vehicles with it. It was used for everything. And it was also very broken, actually. Pila never really had a prime, nor the Joker. Strela has a prime, but it was, compared to the RPG, it was nothing close. I'll put it C tier. X16. Again, as I said in my last video, there's a reason you drop into the Verdansk with the X16. It sucks. Same with 1911. I mean, same thing as last video. 357's A tier. These ran Season 2, and it was not a joke. You ran Grau 357 or Grau MP5. Because the snake shots on this thing was like having 2 freaking shotguns in your back pocket. And you just whip them out and pop, pop, and, you know, the person's dead because you have 2 shotguns, one on each side. It was dumb. They ran the meta for a long time in close range, and were a very good meta. Not quite S tier, though. S tier is very, Very special category up there. Dual 50 cals, their prime was meh. M19s were a little better, so I'll put them C tier. MG34 D tier, it's in its prime right now, and it's okay. Renettis, in their prime, they were probably B tier and dual wield of these, and you had dual wield bursts that shredded in close range. However, the accuracy wasn't great. If the accuracy was better, I probably would put this A tier, but the accuracy wasn't great on them. You had to be like super close, so B tier. X50 C tier. Dragunov. Why? I will never understand why COD thought this gun would be good. Like, it's just not. Like, there's no redeeming qualities about this freaking gun. Anyways, HDR is just a little better than the AX50, so I'll put it B tier. They both never really got nerfed. I think the HDR was better at the start of the game, though. For sure. But yeah, I think it's just a little better. Rytec was always bad, as well as the EBR. Kar98, in its prime, never been nerfed. This thing has ran for a long time and sits at S tier. It will always stay at S tier probably until this thing gets nerfed. It's everyone's favorite gun to run. MK2 Carbine is terrible. The crossbow is actually decent, but compared to other metas, it's like D tier because it never really had a meta or a prime, if I'm being honest with you. SKS also didn't really have one. Yeah, this gun's just bad. SPR, S tier, and better than Kar98 in its prime, which only lasted like 2 weeks. But for those 2 weeks, you could 700-meter hit scan. If you don't know what that means you could put it on his head 700 meters away, and it would headshot him. Because bullet velocity didn't exist. The bullet velocity was off the charts. Didn't matter how far away they were, you put it on their head, they died. Obviously, after the nerf, it's just a little bit worse than the Kar98, but as I said, prime, it's, yeah. Holger, I'll give it C tier in its prime. It was pretty good, but nowhere near the other metas of the game. Model 680 never had one, so I'm putting it F. I guess it did have one, it was okay. Its prime wasn't bad, but it wasn't known, really. People just used the other shotguns because they were better. AS Val, I'm going to say it's in its prime now, and I'm putting it B tier because as a secondary to a sniper, it's very good in solos. If it had a larger mag size, this is A tier, but it has a 30-round mag, so, yeah. Oh, wait, nope, I lied to you. It's A tier. Its prime was when you could use the 10-round mags and shoot through any wall in the entire game. As many walls and any wall that you wanted to. You throw a snapshot, there's multiple videos of Tim the Tatman doing this, of throwing a snapshot into a building, see where they are, shoot through the wall, and kill them in 3 shots. That was the ASVAL Prime. And that was dumb. If you got snapshot, you were dead. If you saw a snapshot, you had to just sprint your ass off because you were dead if you didn't. So, take back everything I said. 100% A tier for the ASVAL. The Finn is C tier. It's just, as I said in my last video, it's never got nerfed, and everything I said about it in my last video stands true. The Bruen. This is an A tier weapon. It's not quite to the point of S tier where if you didn't run it, you didn't win games. But if you didn't run it, you had to be running like a sniper pretty much. Because the Bruen lasered from every range, had a 60-round mag that you would put on it, and then your mobility was insane. And it was just broken meta. It's still good, frankly. If I'm being honest with you, the gun still slaps. But it's nowhere where it used to be. But in its prime, this is an arguable S tier gun. So now we move on to all of the Cold War weapons. And I'm going to do what I did last video. Just put the FARA and LC-10 right where they belong because they're in here twice in F tier. And now I'm just going to spam F tier because none of these guns ever ran Warzone or never had a good prime. For all the knife ones, the Wakizashi knife and sledgehammer, just go watch the These Knives Only video on that because he makes one on all of them. They suck, all 3 of them, and none of them are good. And then all the launchers never really did anything. Hauer, a lot of these are going to be in their current state, so they're going to be very similar to how I ranked them last video. I'll give it D tier. Compared to primes, yeah, it's going D tier. It's not good. Gallo, compared to primes, let me think about this. I know I said Origin was the best meta. Did I lie? Yeah, I did. This is going S tier. Because right now, I don't think anything inside of 10 meters beat the Gallo. You can let me know in the comments if you think different, but I think inside of 10 meters, Gallo wins every fight. Like, even health, even, like, time to shoot. I don't think the Gallo will ever lose a fight like that. But let me know your opinions down in the comments down below. Street Sweeper, B. It's the Gallo with less mobility. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about the Street Sweeper. It's the Gallo with less mobility, and it's just not quite Origin level in their prime again. 1911, nah. Magnums is where they are now, is C tier. Yeah, C tier. They're good, but they're not Sync Shot level. Diamatti, A tier. This got nerfed because it was done broken. Dual wield of these was better than dual wield of the, what are they called? Diamattis. Wow, nice one, Blake. The Renettis. And also, single of this is very dumb. They're still ground loot in today's game, but yeah, before they got nerfed, they were very good. Best LMG meta, A tier. Or no, Bruin was better, but also A tier still. Better than the PKM is what I was going for. Bruin is the best by far, and I'm actually moving that to S tier. But the Stoner, very good, very viable. It never really ran Warzone, I'll say. But in its prime, this gun was a laser and could beat a lot of guns in the game. RPD is D tier, M60 is actually F tier. These guns never had a prime and never were good in their prime. M82, I'll give it D tier. It's not quite F, just because it actually is decent because of the fire rate. And you can actually get pretty good bullet velocity on it as well. Tundra. The question becomes, is it Kar 98 and SPR meta type? Prime type, I should say. Scopes' answer is yes. I agreed with him last time. I agree with him again. Bullet velocity is huge. It's similar to the SPR in its prime. Obviously not quite there. But it has enough bullet velocity to make up for the aim down sight time. The aim down sight time is not great on this weapon, but the bullet velocity changes honestly makes it an S tier weapon. And that and Kar 98 are running snipers right now in Warzone. Tellington, this thing is so bad, bro. This thing is terrible. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say on it. DMR, S tier. This ran for 3 months. If you didn't use a DMR, you didn't win games. Period. I don't care what you tell me. You could 2-shot people. Then it got nerfed and you could 3-shot people. Then it got nerfed again and you could still 3-shot people. So it took them 4 nerfs, you see this correctly, 4 nerfs, to actually nerf this gun to where it was B tier, by the way. If you watch my other video, I put it B tier for current meta. Like, it's still good. They do not know how to nerf this DMR. It is so good. AUG, just a little worse along with the M16, both A tier. Current primes, AUG is running Warzone right now, and the M16 is right behind it. You know, the loadouts are AUG FFAR, M16 FFAR. I mean, every time I die or play with a new friend, like, they're running, I see the switch between AUG and M16, which is why they're both A tier. Only real difference is a little bit of recoil and fire rate, pretty much, which fire rate goes to the AUG and recoil goes to the M16. So it just depends on what you'd rather. Type 63 in its prime was B tier. It was running with the DMR for a little bit. Everyone ran the DMR, but I did see people running Type 63 because it was good and similar to it, but then it got nerfed into the ground. Cold War MP5, I'm going to go B tier. I think it's currently in meta, I'd say. But I do think the Modern Warfare is a little better because its prime was very, very... again, the prime of the Modern Warfare one was insane. So I don't think I can quite put it up there with it. Milano is just... it's not great. AKU, I'll give it it's a little better than the Milano, not much though. KSP is F. Bullfrog, that's better than the MP5. Cold War MP5, that is. Right now, I think it's best SMG in the game. Personally, my opinion, in current meta. I said that in my last video as well. But I'd say it's in its prime right now, and it holds up with all these other weapons in the category with it, except for the FR. I've already talked about that, but holds up with all these guns, and it's very good. Mac 10 in its prime, I'll give it S tier. because this right here, the two things I'm holding and switching back and forth, those are the two weapons you ran if you wanted to win games the last 2 seasons. So I can't really disrespect the MAC 10 like that. 100% deserves S tier as well. Grows, right now it's C tier, but once the FFAR gets nerfed, it's going to probably go up to A tier, but right now it's not great. FFAR, S tier. As I said earlier, you either run AUG FFAR or M16 FFAR. You realize FFAR is in both of those situations. See why it's S tier now. It can be used for range, close range. It can be, I mean, whatever you want this gun to be, it can be. I mean, it can do everything, and it got quote unquote nerfed. Yeah, I bet. Okay, Krig 6 C tier. Yeah, it's meh. QBZ. Yeah, it's not good. AK-47, I'll put C tier, and the XM4, I'll put F tier. That is my list, ladies and gentlemen. So remember, this is based off Prime. I'll show you guys the list one more time here. Remember, this is all in their primes. Personal list here. If you have any differences or any opinions, let me know down in the comments down below. I'll be going through those, if you have any opinions. That's going to be today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everyone. Peace out.